I mean,
like you aggressive or
at least
something
I
about
thought
it.
it.
Do we have
Last time,
what kind of
last
beef
time,
do we
me and
have?
you.
Wait a minute, what kind
I'm
of
just
beef
saying we
do
don't
we
have a
have?
beef. I'm saying a disagreement,
What do we have
or
a
we not on the same
disagreement
page.
about? What
I
do we
don't.
have
You
a disagreement
me.
about?
The New York State Athletic Commission has just sent shockwaves through the boxing world by officially overturning the result of the Gervonta Tank Davis versus Lamont Roach fight. A decision that many fans had labeled a robbery has now been corrected, rewriting history and shattering the narrative surrounding one of the sport's biggest names.
As we are in the 6th round, let's see what happens, because the words are being thrown at each other. Let's see if the punches start being thrown, and yes, they do.
For weeks, hardcore boxing fans and analysts dissected the controversial scorecards, pointing to the undeniable compubox numbers that told a different story. Roach had outlanded Davis in both total punches and jabs, making it clear that the original decision had heavily favored the undefeated superstar. Now, with the commission stepping in, the illusion of Davis's invincibility has cracked. Before we dive in, do me a quick favor. Like this video and subscribe. 98% of you watch without subscribing, and it helps a ton. Done? Awesome. Now, let's get into it.
Clearly in there, man. I thought I won. I thought I did enough to get the victory over a spectacular fighter. I told y'all from the beginning, man, that I got the skills to pay the bills. I've been telling y'all that. And I'm just glad I got to show it, honestly. I'm glad I got to show it. I appreciate, like I said before, I appreciate true boxing media. Some guys that didn't count me out. So that's just how I feel, man. I think I won, and I can't wait to do it again. I can't wait to dance again.
Roach, who had been vocal about feeling robbed on fight night, wasted no time in reacting to the news. "Man, I thought I won. I thought I did enough to get the victory over a spectacular fighter," Roach said in an interview, his voice carrying both vindication and determination. "I told y'all from the beginning that I got the skills to pay." While the WBA had already been hinting at a rematch, this latest ruling changes everything. This isn't just about running it back. Davis's undefeated record is officially erased. For a fighter who has built his brand on dominance and knockout power, this is more than just a loss. It's an identity crisis. The commission's decision wasn't made lightly. Their review centered around a crucial knockdown in the fight, one that had been improperly evaluated by the judges. Upon closer inspection, what was initially dismissed as a slip was, in fact, a clean shot from Roach that sent Davis to the canvas. That moment, overlooked in the heat of battle, ultimately tipped the scales.
Can you describe what the feeling was like in the ring? And was it to get the towel out, to get the burn out of your eyes, or what was going on?
I didn't want to get caught. I didn't want to get caught while my eyes was burning. And
For Davis, who had been preparing for a potential May rematch on his own terms, the dynamics have completely shifted. What was once a voluntary rematch to silence doubters has now become an unavoidable battle to restore his credibility. His fans, who had long championed him as the face of boxing, placing him alongside the likes of Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, were suddenly on the defensive, scrambling for explanations. But before his fan base could even come up with their own justifications, Davis had one of his own, one that instantly became the talk of social media. "She put grease in my hair, so when I was sweating, the grease came down into my face. It burned my eyes," Davis claimed, addressing the Barclays Center crowd.
You can get knocked out like that, so I'd rather take the knee than, But I didn't really know that you can, get disqualified for all that. Or, when you start counting, I'm like, what the hell? But I don't know. It's cool.
Instead of sympathy, he was met with an eruption of boos. Doubling down, he ran his hands through his freshly styled hair. "This is a real fact. Look at my hair. I just got it done. But it's all cool, man. They love you, then they hate you. Turn around, and they'll love you again." If Davis thought that explanation would soften the backlash, he was mistaken. Instead, the boxing community pounced. Social media exploded with memes mocking his excuse, with fans posting images of hair products and tagging Davis in jokes about Roach's secret weapon being a bottle of hair oil. Some compared his excuse to past infamous moments in boxing, like when Deontay Wilder blamed his loss on a heavy ring walk costume, or when Adrian Broner claimed he had beat that boy after a clear defeat. Meanwhile, Roach stayed focused, brushing off the drama and making it clear that he's already locked in for the rematch.
Did Gervonta Tank Davis have an off night? Probably. Did he have grease in his eye? Probably. Put the grease on. And did Lamont Roach win the fight? Yes.
I'm not here for excuses. I'm here to prove what I already know. I won that fight, and I'll do it again. With Davis's undefeated record officially gone, the pressure is on like never before. Can he silence the doubters and reclaim his throne? Or is this the beginning of the end for one of boxing's most polarizing figures? One thing's for sure, the rematch just became the most anticipated fight of the year. But it wasn't just fans dissecting Tank's excuse. His own hairstylist, known as Ali the Brand on Instagram, wasted no time shutting down the claim that hair grease had anything to do with his performance. I did his hair on Wednesday. It's Saturday. He did press, gym, and weigh-in, she posted, calling Tank out directly. That's no excuse. How much grease did I use? To prove her point, she even uploaded a picture from inside her salon, showing her station clean and free of excess product. Take a look around. You see an overload of grease everywhere? Newsflash. You're not sweating grease. The internet erupted. Fans already skeptical of Tank's excuse now had receipts.
Let's look at the compubox numbers and see who won the fight by the numbers. It's 7-5 Roach by the numbers. But if you look at round 9, that was a round by the numbers that Davis won.
They flooded social media, turning Ali into an unexpected viral figure. Imagine training for months, getting outboxed, and blaming hair grease, one fan tweeted. Others drew comparisons to infamous boxing excuses of the past. When Deontay Wilder lost to Tyson Fury, he blamed his 40-pound ring walk costume for draining his legs. When Vasily Lomachenko lost to Teofimo Lopez, he blamed a shoulder injury. But this was on a different level. This wasn't just an excuse. This was a shift in how the boxing world saw Gervonta Davis.
But that is the same round where Davis was knocked down. So that would have been a 10-8. So not only did Lamont Roach win by the numbers without the knockdown, with the knockdown that he was robbed of, Lamont Roach would have won this fight by a huge margin, 8 rounds to 4.
For years, Davis had been the untouchable knockout artist, the fighter who always seemed to have the system working in his favor. Whether it was controversial scorecards or questionable matchmaking, he had never faced the kind of scrutiny that other champions did. But now, the commission stepping in and outright erasing his win? That was unprecedented. Fans started questioning everything. Had Tank been protected all along? Were the referees and judges giving him the benefit of the doubt because he was a star? And if a single review could undo one of his biggest wins, how many other fights had questionable moments that were never revisited? The backlash wasn't just about Davis losing his undefeated record, it was about what it represented. For years, boxing purists had debated whether fighters like Davis were more brand than boxer, more business than battle. Now, with his official loss on the books, the aura of invincibility was shattered.
I could have stopped him. It's me. Definitely my fault. It's all right. You know what I mean? You live and you learn. I definitely could have.
Tank was no longer the unbeaten superstar. He was just another fighter who had lost, and lost in a way that made the entire sport take notice. The New York State Athletic Commission's decision to overturn a fight result was almost unheard of. This wasn't just a controversial split decision. This was an admission that the sport itself had failed to get it right the first time. Their reasoning? A technical error had prevented them from reviewing the fight's most critical moment when they needed to. Specifically, the knockdown that had been waved off should have been ruled legitimate, which would have dramatically shifted the scoring. Honestly, I thought I won, without that being considered a knockdown, Davis insisted, defending himself in the face of growing criticism. But then he added something that only made things worse. Look, I ain't the ref. If he had to wipe sweat out of his eye, that's on him. But the rules state if you voluntarily take a knee, that's an automatic count. The comment instantly backfired. Fans pointed out the irony. Davis, the same fighter claiming his loss was due to hair grease, was now trying to justify a knockdown by saying the rules were the rules. So, rules apply to Roach, but not your hair grease excuse? Got it, one user replied. Even boxing legends weighed in. You take a loss like a man, former champion Andre Ward said. Excuses won't get you your record back. With the rematch now all but guaranteed, the question isn't just whether Davis can beat Roach, it's whether he can repair his reputation in the process. For the first time in his career, he's fighting from behind, and this time, the boxing world is watching his every move. But can he handle the pressure? Or is this the beginning of a long fall from grace?
That was on me too. That was on me for sure. Because I ain't pick it up when I supposed to pick it up. And I could have definitely did more. Just a lot going on.
One thing is certain, when they step into the ring again, the stakes won't just be about a title, they'll be about the truth. The commission's explanation sent shockwaves through the boxing world. Their admission wasn't just about a technical failure, it was a rare moment where boxing's governing bodies acknowledged a mistake that altered the outcome of a major fight. For years, critics had accused boxing commissions of being slow to react, hesitant to challenge controversial decisions, and, at times, even complicit in protecting the sport's biggest stars. But this time, the commission had done what many thought was impossible. They overturned a win from one of the biggest names in boxing. And that wasn't even the most damning part. Their statement went beyond just the Davis-Roach fight.
But again, it was myself, But you gotta go to the gym and, get back to the drawing board and, train a little harder.
The commission is dedicated to preserving the integrity of combative sports and is committed to working with all promotions and production teams on behalf of the athletes, officials, and fans to ensure technical issues do not occur in the future that prevent the delivery of ringside instant replay feeds to the commission's officials when needed. This was a warning shot to promoters, officials, and anyone else who thought they could manipulate fight results. The message was clear. If they could overturn a Gervonta Davis win, they could overturn anyone's. And just like that, the boxing world had changed. While Tank's loss dominated the headlines, there was another side to the story.
I know something funny. When we was talking in like the 12th round, I think the 12th or 11th, we was talking shit, right? But he like, you ain't gonna win. I said, shit, why not? What you talking about? He like, they ain't gonna give it to you.
The rise of Lamont Roach. Roach had been overlooked in the build-up to this fight, treated like just another challenger on Tank's highlight reel. But when the final bell rang, it was Roach who had forced the commission's hand. "I knew I won the fight the second I stepped out of that ring," Roach told reporters. The people knew it, the numbers knew it, and now the commission knows it too. The compubox stats didn't lie. Roach had outlanded Davis in both total punches and jabs. His counterpunching was sharper, his footwork more disciplined, and his ability to neutralize Tank's power shots had changed the trajectory of the fight. Now, with the decision overturned, Roach wasn't just a contender, he was the man who broke the system. A lot of people didn't believe in me. They thought I was just here to survive, to collect a check. Nah, I came to take everything, and I did.
I said, oh, is that right? So, that's how boxing work. It's sad to say, that's how boxing work. I'm not, totally upset. I figured with a superstar, you won't get.
While fans debated what this meant for Tank's legacy, Terrence Crawford didn't waste time rubbing salt in the wound. Crawford had long been a critic of Tank's rise, claiming that he was more of a business fighter than a true champion. He believed Davis had been protected, carefully matched against opponents who wouldn't challenge him, while real killers like Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson were waiting in the wings. With the result overturned, Crawford let loose on social media. "This dude been talking like he runs the sport," Crawford tweeted. Well, the sport just told him otherwise. The response was brutal. Crawford didn't just call out Tank, he went after his entire fan base. "All y'all talking about Tank the face of boxing?" Well, the face just took an L. It was a dagger straight through the heart of Davis's reputation. The illusion of invincibility was shattered. The aura of a fighter who couldn't be beaten had collapsed overnight. And now, Tank was facing a reality he had never experienced before.
Too much on paper. But shit, I damn sure thought I had it. Especially when they announced the score for him. I was like, oh, they gonna give me a split decision win. I was like, oh yeah. I was like, oh shit, here it go.
He had to answer for a loss. With the rematch now inevitable, the pressure was on Tank to reclaim his throne. But it wasn't just about winning, it was about erasing the stain of this controversy. Davis had built his career on highlight reel knockouts and show-stopping performances. But now, the world wasn't looking at him as the face of boxing. They were looking at him as a fighter who finally got exposed. For the first time in his career, Tank wasn't in control of the narrative. And that might be the biggest fight of his life. The moment the New York State Athletic Commission overturned the result, Ryan Garcia was already online, ready to remind the world that he saw this coming. "Told y'all he lost that fight," Ryan posted within minutes of the announcement. The commission did the right thing. Tank got exposed.
That was a knockdown, without a doubt. You can't spin it no other way. It's too clear. And I think the commission needs to do something about it because it can give me an incentive, anytime I'm not feeling good in a fight, take a knee.
Garcia and Davis have been locked in one of boxing's most personal rivalries for years. After their highly publicized bout, where Tank dropped Ryan with a brutal liver shot, Garcia has been on a mission to prove that the knockout didn't mean Tank was a better fighter. Instead, Ryan has insisted that Tank was simply a manufactured star someone carefully protected by the business of boxing. Now, Ryan finally had proof to back up everything he had been saying. But he wasn't finished. He doubled down, taking direct aim at Tank's diehard fanbase. Tank fans have been lying to themselves for years. Dude ain't that good. He just got saved every time he fought. Now the commission couldn't even protect him anymore. And then came the knockout blow. Ryan posted a slow-motion video of the controversial moment. Tank voluntarily taking a knee against Roach. This was the moment that had turned the tide, the mistake that had cost him the fight. But Ryan didn't just post the clip. He delivered the final insult with a brutal caption. No heart, quitter energy.
But you can't do that.
They reversed the result of your fight.
Yeah.
Should they reverse the result of that fight as well?
Just depends. Like if that changes the whole fight, if that gives Roach a victory, give him the victory. That's how you keep the integrity of the sport, right? That's why they suspended me, right, to keep the integrity of the sport. So I feel like if you're gonna do it to me, you got to do it to everybody.
For years, Tank built his image around being an unstoppable force. He wasn't just a skilled fighter. He was a street fighter, a bully, a knockout machine who made opponents crumble. But now he was the guy on his knees, in a fight that the world now knew he should have lost. And Ryan made sure everyone saw it. For weeks, Shakur Stevenson had stayed quiet while the controversy played out. He watched the debates, the arguments, the backlash, never saying a word. But once the ruling became official, Shakur finally spoke up. I knew what it was. Now let's see if he still wants to talk crazy. And then came the challenge. Or maybe now he can just fight me and stop running. Because now, Tank wasn't the same untouchable star anymore. Before he had the power to dictate his fights, he could ignore names like Haney, Stevenson, or even Crawford because he had an undefeated record and a massive fan base to back him up. But now his leverage was gone.
If Tank won't fight the rematch, what happens with him and Shakur? How do you see that fight
Stevenson has a reputation as being the best defender in the division. He is a feared fighter because of that particular quality. If I'm Tank Davis and I'm coming off a disappointment in terms of my offensive output, I'm not going straight to the best defender in the division. I'm looking for some other fight, and I think the logical fight for him is a rematch with Lamont Roach.
Shakur had been calling for this fight for years. He had always claimed that Tank was more hype than substance. And after seeing how Tank struggled against Roach, a fighter Shakur believed wouldn't last 5 rounds with him, he knew the time had come to turn up the pressure. And it wasn't just Shakur. It wasn't just Garcia and Stevenson coming for Tank. The entire boxing world had something to say. Fighters, analysts, and fans alike had spent years debating whether Tank was truly elite or just a manufactured star protected by promoters and politics. Now that his fight had been overturned, the critics had their answer. This is what happens when you keep ducking real fights, one analyst said. Eventually, someone you underestimate exposes you. The comparisons to other infamous boxing excuses came flooding in. Deontay Wilder blamed his ring walk costume for his loss to Tyson Fury. Adrian Broner said, I beat that boy after getting dominated by Pacquiao. Now Tank Davis, blaming hair grease. The memes were relentless. Fans flooded Twitter and Instagram with posts featuring hair products, bottles of grease, and barbershop clips. One fan even edited a mock advertisement for a fake product, Tank's Tears Hair Grease, the #1 choice for fighters who need an excuse. The boxing world wasn't just questioning Tank anymore, they were clowning him. Now, Davis had 2 choices. Damage control, he could try to spin the narrative, blame the commission, claim the system was against him, and attempt to rally his fans behind him. Redemption, he could step up, accept the rematch with Roach, or finally take on one of the elite names in boxing, Shakur Stevenson, Devin Haney, or even Terrence Crawford. Because now, Tank Davis wasn't the unbeatable knockout king anymore. He was the fighter who took a knee, lost the decision, and blamed his hairstylist. And the only way out of this? Prove them all wrong. Alright guys, for the best updates on boxing news, moments, events, and actions, subscribe to Knockout Updates and turn on notifications to never miss out on quality content. And check out our other videos. Until next time, peace out.